The glass towers of Moscow's financial heart stand as monuments to wealth, while the silent night begins.
Deep within hidden territory, a calculated mission begins as Ukrainian drones navigate toward the distant Russian capital. Advanced GPS systems lock onto precise coordinates, while the $1.7 billion skyscrapers become the primary targets.
Pedestrians stop and stare as the rhythmic buzzing of incoming engines echoes through the narrow Moscow streets.
Click the subscribe button now to stay updated on the most critical developments of the Russia-Ukraine war.
A violent explosion rips through the facade as glass and metal rain down onto the Russian pavement. Inside the government offices, documents scatter as the shockwave destroys the interior workspace of the Russian ministry.
Secondary drones navigate the concrete canyons, as Russian air defenses struggle to intercept the low-flying threats.
Chaos erupts on the ground as civilians flee the falling glass and smoke billowing from the towers. Targeted strikes hit the very ministries responsible for Russia's digital infrastructure and wartime communications during this operation. First responders rush toward the burning district while sirens wail across the capital in a rescue effort.
High-resolution satellite images confirm the heat signatures of multiple fires burning within the high-rise structures.
Tracers light up the night as air defense batteries engage targets in a frantic attempt to protect.
Investigators examine the wreckage of a downed drone to determine the exact origin and technical capabilities used.
The psychological impact of the attack changes the perception of safety for residents living within the capital.
Footage of the strikes spreads across the global internet as the world watches the war reach Moscow.
The $1.7 billion project now stands as a symbol of vulnerability facing Russia's modern urban centers.
High-ranking officials assess the structural damage, while communicating the political fallout to the leadership within Kremlin.
Engineers analyze the 500-mile journey completed to bypass the layered air defenses surrounding the Russian capital.
Morning reveals the full extent of the destruction, as daylight illuminates the charred remains of the office.
These towers house the Ministry of Economic Development and the Ministry of Digital Development in the capital.
Sensitive equipment and furniture plummet hundreds of feet, while the morning air remains thick with gray smoke.
Rescue crews fight localized fires, while navigating through the mangled wreckage of a once modern corporate environment.
Local residents witness the physical reality of a conflict that was previously confined to their television screens.
The Beaver drone is a domestically produced Ukrainian weapon, capable of flying long distances with high precision.
Low radar cross-sections allow these drones to slip through the gaps of the Russian early warning network.
Maintenance crews work tirelessly to clear the streets before the morning commute begins for millions of Muscovites.
The proximity of the strikes to the Kremlin raises serious questions about the efficiency of current defenses.
Radar operators struggle to distinguish small drones from birds or atmospheric clutter during these complex night attacks. High explosive payloads are specifically designed to penetrate the reinforced glass and steel of modern office towers.
Global media outlets broadcast the footage as the international community debates the strategic significance of the operation.
Civil aviation faces frequent disruptions as airports close their airspace to prevent potential mid-air drone collisions.
Old and new technologies merge as searchlights scan for low-altitude threats above the dark and silent river.
Russian intelligence experts study the salvaged components to find vulnerabilities in the Ukrainian navigation and control systems.
Jammers attempt to sever the link between the drone and its satellites to prevent a successful impact.
In a stunning display of accuracy, a second drone hits the exact same tower within 48 hours.
Major companies and government agencies order their staff to work from home to avoid the risk tonight.
The destruction of physical archives and digital hardware, complicates the daily operations of the Russian federal government. Reinforcements arrive as the Kremlin orders a massive increase in air defense coverage for the central district.
Interceptions frequently occur over residential areas, causing debris to fall onto homes and cars in the suburbs.
The city's GPS signals become unreliable as massive electronic warfare shields are activated to blind incoming drones.
Operators celebrate the successful bypass of one of the most protected airspaces on the entire planet tonight.
Optical sensors allow the drone to maintain its path even when satellite signals are completely blocked by jammers. State media attempts to downplay the severity of the attacks to maintain a sense of social stability.
Experts find Western-made components within the electronics, leading to renewed accusations of direct involvement from foreign powers.
Repairing the $1.7 billion towers will require specialized glass panels that are now difficult to source.
Dozens of drones are launched simultaneously in swarm tactics to overwhelm and confuse the Russian defense networks. The war is no longer a distant event, as the sounds of explosions become a regular occurrence. Every strike serves as a reminder that the front line has moved far beyond the borders of Ukraine.
High-altitude technicians work in dangerous conditions to secure the structural integrity of the damaged office floors today.
Pro-war commentators express frustration as they demand more aggressive measures to stop the frequent Ukrainian drone incursions.
Some drones survive anti-aircraft fire, only to be brought down by invisible beams of electronic warfare energy.
Economic losses mount as the aviation sector suffers from the constant threat of drones in the sky. Architects study the impact patterns to understand how modern buildings withstand the force of small explosive payloads.
Technology allows pilots to guide these weapons from hundreds of miles away with incredible precision and speed.
State narratives focus on the resilience of the city while ignoring the growing anxiety of its citizens.
Private security firms are now deploying electronic countermeasures to protect individual buildings from the threat of drones.
The reflection of the fire on the water provides a haunting visual of the war's current reach.
Ukraine has scaled its production to thousands of units monthly to maintain the pressure on Russian defenses.
The commuters witness the sudden violence of the war while driving to work in the heart of Russia.
Commanders identify gaps in the radar coverage that allows small drones to fly undetected for hundreds of kilometers.
Improvisational defenses appear across the city as authorities try to mitigate the danger of falling metal shards.
Experts explain how inexpensive drones can force Russia to expend millions on sophisticated surface-to-air missiles tonight.
Every evening brings a new wave of tension as the sun goes down and the drones return.
The conflict is being woven into the fabric of daily life for the youngest generation of Russians.
Terminal guidance systems use image recognition to ensure the drone hits the exact floor of the target.
Though casualties are low, the community mobilizes to support those affected by the sudden and violent strikes.
Ukraine uses decoy drones to draw fire and reveal the locations of Russian missile batteries for destruction.
The strikes disrupt the very systems meant to control the narrative and manage the state's internal communications.
Parts of the capital experience blackouts as authorities attempt to make the city a harder target tonight.
Maximum range requires every cubic centimeter of the airframe to be utilized for fuel and explosive storage.
Secondary damage to the building's infrastructure makes the towers unusable for weeks after a successful drone hit. International embassies reassess their security protocols as the risk of collateral damage in the capital rises sharply. While Russia has its own systems, the density of defenses in Moscow is now higher than ever.
Kinetic strikes are often accompanied by digital attacks, meant to maximize the psychological impact on the public.
The vibrant nightlife of the district has been replaced by a cautious and watchful, stilled silence.
Successes are celebrated publicly to bolster morale and maintain the image of a fully protected motherland tonight.
Mobile launch platforms make it nearly impossible for Russian forces to target the drones before they fly.
Even intercepted drones pose a danger as thousands of pieces of metal fall onto the city below.
The historical heart of the empire is now protected by layers of modern electronic and kinetic weaponry.
Messages of defiance are often written on the weapons before they are sent on their one-way mission.
Authorities enforce a total ban on civilian drones to ensure that any flying object is identified quickly.
Сообщения СМИ с места событий строго контролируются для предотвращения распространения паники или детализации ущерба.
Using prominent landmarks and roads helps the drone maintain its heading without the need for satellite signals.
Infrared sensors scan the skyline for the heat of small engines as the city remains on alert.
Conversations about the war are now common, as the physical reality of the conflict reaches the capital.
Helicopters are deployed to hunt for drones that fly too low for traditional air defense radar systems.
Innovation and low-cost materials are key to maintaining the high volume of strikes required for this campaign.
Symbols of national pride are used to project strength, even as the buildings themselves remain under threat.
Ukraine maintains that bringing the war to Russia is a necessary and fair part of their defense.
Close-in weapon systems provide the last line of defense against drones that penetrate the outer missile screen.
Forensic teams recover every piece of metal to trace the manufacturing and supply chain of the weapon.
Attacks from multiple directions force Russia to spread its defense assets thin across its vast territory tonight.
The damaged architecture creates a surreal and haunting sight for those living and working in the district.
Decoys are used to waste expensive missiles and hide the true path of the explosive-laden attack drones.
Precision engineering at a small scale is what makes these long-range strikes possible for the Ukrainian forces.
The city takes on a wartime appearance as defenses are moved into public view for the first.
For some, the novelty of the situation has replaced the initial fear as the attacks become frequent.
Unexploded ordnance poses a hidden threat to the public long after the initial drone strike has ended.
Soldiers are stationed in parks and open spaces to provide a visual and kinetic layer of defense.
Every gram of weight is carefully balanced to ensure the drone reaches its target 500 miles away.
The calm of the morning is often preceded by a night of sirens and high-altitude explosive interceptions.
Official responses are carefully scripted to emphasize the failure of the drones and the strength of defenses.
Winter weather adds a layer of complexity to the electronics and aerodynamics of these long-range strike missions.
The loss of data and hardware is a secondary goal meant to slow the Russian war machine.
Viral videos and sensational headlines drive the global narrative as the war enters this new high-tech phase.
Mobility is key to preventing Ukrainian forces from finding and destroying the air defense sites around Moscow.
The final seconds of a mission are fully automated to ensure the drone hits its pre-programmed target. The sound of drones is now heard in towns and villages far from the capital's central district.
The private sector in Ukraine play a vital role in developing new and more effective weaponry.
Repairs are carried out at night to avoid the gaze of the public and the local media. Every piece of wreckage is a testament to the reaching power and the resolve of the defenders.
While drones strike the capital, The brutal war of attrition continues on the ground in the south.
Replacing spent missiles is an expensive and time-consuming process for the Russian military logistics and supply chain.
Fuel management is critical to ensuring the drone has enough energy to reach its target in Moscow.
The physical damage to the towers is a constant reminder of the war's presence in the capital.
The geographic spread of the attacks shows the growing capabilities of the Ukrainian long-range strike mission tonight.
Simple and effective launch systems allow for quick deployment and relocation of the drone teams in Ukraine.
New technologies are being tested to find a more cost-effective way to bring down small attack drones.
The initial shock has turned into a grim acceptance of the new and dangerous reality of life. The interior of the tower remains a silent and charred reminder of the sudden and violent impact.
Quality control is essential to ensure that every drone can complete the long and difficult mission successfully.
The architecture of the district is both a target and a symbol of the modern Russian state.
The camera provides the final link for the operators to confirm the target and the successful strike.
The center of power is now a fortress, protected by the most advanced weaponry in the world.
Ensuring a strong signal is the first step in a mission that will take several hours tonight.
The process of repair is a visible sign of the state's efforts to return to normal life.
Commanders are under pressure to find a permanent solution to the constant threat of the drone strikes.
The dawn brings a sense of relief, but the knowledge that the drones will return tonight remains.
Every drone is a labor of love and a tool of war for the people of Ukraine.
The district never sleeps, as the work of repair and protection continues around the clock every day.
The weapon has traveled hundreds of miles to deliver its message of defiance to the Russian capital.
The contrast between the peace of the countryside and the violence of the city is stark tonight.
The roar of the missiles is a common sound for those living on the outskirts of Moscow.
The brain of the drone is a marvel of modern technology and a key to its success.
Life continues even in the shadow of the war, as people adapt to the new and dangerous.
The data shows a clear pattern of targeting government and economic centers within the Russian Federation today. Flexibility and surprise are the most powerful weapons in the hands of the Ukrainian drone strike teams. The future of defense is being written in the skies above Moscow, as new technologies are tested.
The fear of the unknown is a constant companion for those living in the Russian capital tonight.
The silence of the damaged floor is a stark contrast to the busy life of the city.
Every drone is a piece of a larger strategy to bring the war to the Russian home.
The towers are a target, a symbol, and a reminder of the cost of the modern conflict. The eyes of the drone are the final link in a chain of events that started miles. The historical heart of Russia remains a fortress in a world that is becoming more and more.
The mission is ready, the target is clear, and the drones are prepared for the long journey.
The repair of the towers is a testament to the resilience of the city and its people.
The war is a challenge that requires every resource and every person to play a vital part.
The drones will return, and the city will be ready as the conflict enters its next phase.